Hey friends, this is Ian Khan again at HIMSS 25 in Las Vegas, and I'm talking with industry leaders, the C-suite, influencers, decision makers to figure out and understand where we're headed when it comes to the future. I have an incredible guest with me who's leading marketing for the show, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and thanks for having us, Ian, and thanks for being here. Christine Buck, I'm the Chief Marketing Communications Officer of HIMSS. And while I do want to do one quick correction, I'm not quite leading the show. I have a co-partner in crime on the Informa Market side, Lauren Whittington, who's an incredible CMO as well. So we are co-spearheading, the marketing of the event.
Of course, and we spoke with Lauren as well.
You did.
We
Okay,
did.
great.
We did.
I just want to make sure.
No, we did,
She's
and she's incredible.
colleague.
It's been great to work with her. I wanted to ask you about some of the things that you're observing at the show this year, some of the things, the industry conversations that you're getting to hear. The presence here is amazing. It's incredible. Beautiful setup. Lots of industry presence, thousands of attendees. Tell us about the numbers. What have you seen this year in terms of attendee numbers?
So the official numbers are still on their way, out.
Yep.
But we're looking at about 28,000. Global attendees
Yep.
around the world, and but to really hone in on those numbers, though, I really want to focus on what that means. It means that right now we have almost 12,000 unique. Providers and clinicians and professional attendees, which is a really big deal.
Yeah.
So we are still drawing and attracting not just the people who are attending, but the people that are preparing amazing content and sharing it from an educational perspective that are speakers here.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that. And then globally, we have representatives from about 85 countries right now. So whether that's, you probably saw a really large group of our amazing colleagues from Samsung Medical Center.
Of course.
Korean, Japanese, a lot of folks from Europe, and then the Middle East.
Yeah.
So we're proud, but we're also very excited to welcome them.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about where healthcare is right now, and from a marketing perspective, right? Marketing is such an important aspect of business, irrespective of whether you are a bootstrapped startup or a multi-billion-dollar brand that's doing incredible work. Everybody wants to utilize the marketing vehicle. What are you seeing as trends that are shaping marketing in the healthcare industry? Are you seeing some new things people are doing, some innovative strategies, tactics? And I want our viewers in the healthcare industry and others to understand maybe some of the things they should explore.
Yes.
And who else but you to tell us about that a little bit?
Thank you so much for asking, and I think that's a wonderful question. So what I'm seeing a lot of fast forward innovation happening, especially if you just take a walk across the floor here, if you go visit my friends at GE, I've got a really great colleague there who's the CMO of the healthcare practice or healthcare division.
Simon. We met him, yes.
Exactly, Simon. So if you just take a walk through there and you just look at, how they're engaging with individuals to show their products, but it's not just about here's the benefit, it's about what are you looking for as a provider or hospital system? What are you trying to accomplish in terms of care outcomes? Yeah. So I think it's always about that. But then, in terms of, the most important thing is how do you, as marketers today, as professional brand, leaders, how do you cut through a lot of the noise? So you have such a diminished attention span. It can't be said enough. It's even more in this industry.
Yeah.
And, my background's in fintech and financial services investment banking. It's extremely difficult. You can cut through some noise there pretty quickly, but here, there's so many opportunities, so many themes, so many issues, so many challenges. So what I'm finding is some of those really interesting firms, follow them, see what they're doing. If you're small, if you're bootstrapped, look what GE is doing, look at what my team at HIMSS is doing, I hope. And then think about how you can get your message out in a really clear, concise way. So it actually gets down to how you're using your channels. And I can't say it enough.
Of course.
Social digital.
Yeah.
I call it social selling now. You must have a presence across all the social channels, and you must get someone who is a digital native to run those things for you, and not be fearful.
Yeah.
You have to go contact people where they're at, and they're all online. They're in a very, attention economy.
Yeah, of course.
Use the attention economy to your benefit as much as you can.
Of course. You see a lot of companies, and I hate generalizing, but it's the truth. You see a lot of companies who do amazing work, but they're online presence is not as stellar. They're still struggling to even figure out the importance of social media. Why you need to have a communication vehicle and a channel that advocates, that connects, that does all these things. It's not just advertising about what you've done, which is good,
Yes.
but it's really connecting with your customers and stakeholders at that level.
Yes.
What advice can you give to viewers on, how seriously they should take their online presence and or social media and content creation in general?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question, Ian. So first of all, content is still very critical. That's the most important element. You must have great evidence-based, outcomes-based content to share, and especially in the healthcare marketing space, right? What does my product do, and how do I actually achieve better outcomes for patient care, or better outcomes for cyber, to defeat cyber attacks and so forth? So using that content, this is so classic, but turning that into snackable, quick digital sound bites in terms of what your customers have done. But you have to connect on their level. It's not about you. It's not about your brand or the name. You almost don't want to see that anymore. You want to see them telling your story front and center. I call it humanizing the brand. I call it humanizing the story.
Yes.
And that has worked extremely well for HIMSS. We just relaunched our new website. We just, reinvigorated our whole social presence as a global membership-driven society,
of course.
And chapter-driven, community-driven society. It's actually working extremely well for us. We're inviting more people. They see themselves in the story, and they're saying, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm a hospital system that's trying to affect, digital health transformation, change, creating and saving lives, right, or better patient outcomes. I can actually see myself in the story. I really want to partner with HIMSS, or I want to partner with any of these other organizations that do that really well." And I think that's the difference. Health and healthcare, you must have the human and outcomes-based derivatives, and then you can go out and then you can connect to whatever the services are that you're providing.
Of course.
It's
I
so
see.
classic, but it really works.
It is.
You have to stay true to it. So.
Exactly. And now with the amplification, also the multiplying of different channels that you have available. You've got, of course, traditional press that does what they do, right? You've got stories, you've got some interesting things happen, and somebody writes about you. Or you have advertising, or you have social media, or you have one of 100 things probably we could name that companies can do now to get the word out. I think it needs folks out there who are struggling with this. I think they need to go back to the basics, engage with maybe experts who excel in that, and try and understand that it could have a much bigger impact on their business than their traditional approach, right? To reach so many people.
The other thing I just want to throw this out too, I think especially for those who are scientists or neuroscientists or behavioral, researchers, it goes back to advertising. When you actually use humor, or you use sound, sonic branding, or you use even the scent, if you're here on the floor, if it's coffee brewing or something like that, people will remember what you're trying to share with them. If you can tell them a story, make them laugh, they will come back to you. They'll come back to your website. They will follow you. They'll follow your blog. As you know, you're obviously producing a lot of great content. You know how this works. I think you have to remember you've got to connect to people on an emotional, psychological, emotional level.
Of course.
And then they will remember you. And that's the thing, is you want to be memorable. You want to be reachable, and you also want to be very credible, and that's the outcomes-based piece.
Absolutely.
So.
Who and we're going to finish soon. I know. I appreciate your time.
I don't get to talk about this today. So.
Who is your favorite author when it comes to marketing? When you were saying, your last response, Robert Cialdini stuck in my head for some reason, but that could not be But who's your favorite go-to reader? Hey, I want to learn about marketing. I want to read this. Is it Seth Godin? Is it Cialdini? Is it who is it?
So I love Seth Godin. Okay, there are two people. One is Chicago-based but global, and he's an incredible thought leader. He has led advertising globally. His name is Rashad Tabakawala. He's a futurist. He is someone that you have to watch. He's just published his second book, but the first book that I love is Putting the Heart and Soul Back into Business. Yeah. I think that's the exact title. Yeah. Rashad is about, it's like the future cannot fit into containers of the past. Nice. He's amazing, and he's also super passionate and just a lot of fun to listen to and watch and so forth. The second book that because I do a lot of marketing transformation, I don't know, I really like these really difficult projects. Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to pair up a writer. It's Greg McKeown, and he wrote the art of simplicity or minimalism. But you probably know him. It's a really simple, quick read. It's all about getting to the most minimal state where you're actually doing the things that matter the most. Right. So I highly recommend Greg McKeown. He is. I give this book to everyone on my team as we're trying to change. We're trying to modernize marketing. Read this book. You need to know how to get to what's the most important on your list. So
of course,
top priorities.
Of course.
So
thank you. Last but not least, what is your one recommendation to viewers and whoever's watching this on what should they prioritize first when they are now going out to the world, trying to promote their company and doing all what they do? Is it content? Is it website? Is it social media? Is it video? Just one thing where they should start right away. You need to get a Swiss Army knife. Just a Swiss Army knife, a social media expert who can produce content, write it, and take video, actively be out in the world, and even creating short snippets. That's first. Get your social house in order, because that becomes a website almost, and then you can behind the scenes work on these longer tail projects like revitalizing, your e-commerce site or your website platform or something like that. Revitalizing your content. It takes a very long time, especially in our world, to create great testimonials and case stories and use cases and sharing that. That takes several more weeks or months often. Of course.
But if you can get your social storytelling and start to use it as your front door while you're working on the rest, get one or two people.
Yeah.
Find that great person who was raised up digitally, who's a digital native, and get them to start tackling your storytelling, build a strategy around that, and start going after it.
Amazing.
And so I think that's my top.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thanks so much for those insights. It's amazing speaking with you, and thanks for putting together this great show along with your team and collaborators. We're having a ball of a time.
I'm so grateful, I just come back next year and stay in touch with us.
We definitely will.
Really,
Thank you.
Really proud to have you here.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Ian.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it was so good to meet you.